What's goody? What's goody? And welcome to the For the Boys podcast. Just quickly, we'd like to thank everyone that's joined us in the beginning, from when this all started up until now. We always expect like over 2 million viewers, so we expect nothing less tonight. But also, this podcast is about mental health. When we started, it was about men's mental health, and then we transitioned to I guess everyone that goes through the struggles of life. Everyone has their story to share, and also the journey. And the best thing about this is just having a platform like this and being able to, speak freely, and being safe to do so. So, I'm Teza.
I'm Swanky second.
Mafioso.
Whether you're joining us tonight or listening to our audio podcast, thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're hanging around. Quick disclaimer that not one of us three are professionals in any way. We basically work and share life stories and experiences that we've been through, in the hopes that it's a help to anybody out there who's listening on our podcast channels or right here on the live. So feel free to ask a few questions tonight as our show goes on. We've got an awesome guest lined up for you guys. So let's get it going. Let's go.
Nice. So yes, sharing stories. I met also our guest tonight at the 275 men's night. Shout out 275 Fitz and the Usos there. Hearing his story and how he got through it, the journey, and what he created afterwards, and still is working through now. It's just a huge, like, everyone needs to hear, and these stories. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest.
Hey,
Paul.
Hey,
Uzo.
shout for us.
How are you,
welcome
Paul?
to the show, man.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's an honor to be here tonight. I was really looking forward to it. And coming to the right time as well. I just want to say thank you to the man up there. Thank you to the Lord for giving this opportunity and using our voice and whatever that we share tonight. Hopefully that we can help somebody out there. A man or a father, even some ladies out there that need some support, or maybe they struggle with what we've been through and stuff like that. So yeah, it's an honor to be here tonight. Thank you, boys.
Thank you, Uso. Thank you for taking the time out of your evening to jump on our Little Talanoa tonight.
And just quickly, if you have any questions for the also, come through our chat. And if this is your first time tuning in tonight, just either say hi, hello, or bye. You don't want to listen to us. That's good for you. We'll just pass it over to the also. Who is the man of the hour, and where it all started.
Yeah, bro. Just to say, my name is Paul Tagaloasa. I was born and raised in Samoa. I was raised without a dad. My dad passed away before I was born. So in Samoa, you used to use the dynamite. I don't know if you guys here, used to use the dynamite to kill the fish. Back then, my dad used to, he used to do that to, just to look after the families. But apparently, one of his friends was telling me that things went wrong, and obviously he couldn't save on a day. And I think my mom was only 3 months pregnant with me. So I grew up knowing my grandparents. So my grandparents were the one that brought me up. I have three full sisters older than me. I'm the youngest, but the rest of us is 12 altogether. 12 brothers and sisters, big families, big Samoan families. Mum is pretty brave, but back then, it's always growing up with grandparents.
Mm. Sorry, also, that's with just growing up without the old man there. Back then, how was that for you? Because you obviously grew up with your grandparents. Yeah, just how was that for you in general?
It's I want to say, like, I wouldn't wish to anybody, and that's one of the things that I love to work around is I wouldn't wish on anybody that grow up without a dad, because it was tough. It was really tough. To be honest, I didn't, like, even till now, I don't know what it's like to have a relationship with dad. Like, and I always wish that I have that relationship with my dad. One of the things that I always wish as well is having a relationship as a family, because even though I had my mom, but mom had moved on. I know, I don't know if my mom's gonna watch this or not, but I'm sorry, mom, that I have to tell the story, and I know, I love you. So, mom move on and have another relationship and have his, other kids. So it was tough, like, not having mom, dad, siblings together, play together, joke together, share together. It was none of that, because I grew up with my cousins was around, my aunties was around. So yeah, honestly, I wouldn't wish to anybody, and that was one of the reason why I believe that the cycle that I've been through, it needs to break. Like, I would love to see mom, dad, and their kids growing up together. I think it's safe. It's it's giving a lot of the power, to the kids, knowing that my mom and dad were there. You know, they they're solid. They love me, um, and a good role model for them. So I didn't have. But for saying that, I was lucky enough that I had my granddad and my uncle, which is, I kind of look up to them. They were my father figures, but it's still not the same. You hear kids at school talking about, oh, my dad done that. We went with my dad and do that, and it's kind of like, I wish I could have done that with my dad, and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tough one. But I wouldn't be here who I am now if I didn't be through that experience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
guaranteed. Like it's nothing like having your actual dad. I mean, I'm the opposite. I did have a father growing up. I had all my family was always together, my siblings, and then I had kids, and then I ended up, I didn't stick with my kids' mother. So in the beginning, I said, "Oh, my kids always need to have a father," and things like that. But it's hard because I mean, I understand what you say. Like it's good to. I think you kind of missed the whole togetherness, say, with having your immediate family, your mom, your
Yeah.
dad, your siblings, and I know that because I can't live without them now. It's really hard, even though I do they live overseas. It's hard now, but it's like it's hard. It's kind of hard for me too because my kids kind of grew up without a dad. I mean, I'm not saying I was never there for them. I was always there for them. I call myself, I was the ATM for them. I was always the money, money, and they just screw up with their mum. That's how I feel about it. But that's going to be for them to judge. That's going to be for them to judge. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like it's good that I feel like I've had both because I wasn't there for. I feel like I wasn't there for my kids, but I knew I was always around for them. Um, but it's yeah, having that family and the father figure there is definitely something that all kids need. And regardless of your grandfather, your uncles stepping in to fill that role for you, you're definitely right. Also, it's not the same. It's not the same than having a father. So I kind of not I'm not on your boat, but I kind of understand exactly where you are because
Mhm.
although I did have a father, I felt like I
Yeah.
wasn't there for my kids. So I'm kind of like I understand both sides of this whole thing. Eh? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like personally for me, of what I
Yeah.
just heard from the Usos, little intro is like, yeah, nah, that's what he's saying is bang on the money. Hey, we wish for our family to be together and nothing more. Like, who cares about money? If my family can be together, well, why not? That's all I want. Hey,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
100. That's 100. So good on
100%.
yeah,
100%,
yeah.
bro. Like,
Mm.
I can share later on. We can get into to that. When we get down to the bottom. But again, that I want to say thank you to you for being honest and sharing your experience. Like, because one thing is having a not having a dad, but having a dad there and not in the scene. See,
Mm,
I think that's even tough. Because me
mm,
knowing that my dad's already passed away,
yeah.
but having a kids knowing that the dad is still around, I think that's even tougher than the
Mm,
one that passed away, because knowing that my dad, I'll never see him again. But with the one that always wishing that, oh, I wish my dads will come and see me here. So,
yeah, yeah.
and I also wanted to say this for anyone that's viewing this, like, it's going to be a lot of triggers, having this conversation tonight as well. Just
Mm.
making sure that this is a sharing that it's tough time that we all gonna go through. We all gonna go through some stuff, and for some way that we have to own up, and we have to talk about it. These things. So I would just say, like, anyone out there that's probably feeling triggers, or maybe they feel like, oh man, am I actually doing a good job here? Am I actually bad dad? It's not, because we all learning from the experience. Hey, do you know what I mean?
Mm. I like to say,
Yeah, bro.
Muffy, like how you feel that you were in prison. Like,
Mm,
I've seen the relationship you have with your kids. Like, it's a beautiful relationship, and like you mentioned, like you gave him house keys. Like it's like
yeah, yeah.
whenever you need me, I'm here. Like the keys
Mm,
there. Come to the house. You're welcome. So like you may feel like you're in prison, but I believe the kids know that you're always there. Like you're just
mm,
a phone call away. I mean, just a drive down the road. So yeah, like, but like as all of us being fathers and that, like, real, how are you, Paul, navigating that space now that you have a family of your own? How are you navigating that space being a father?
I honestly, that was a tough one, because it triggers a lot of. So before I had my own kids, we were foster. Me and my wife now. Um, we done foster parents, so we care for kids that take away from their parents. So we had two boys in our care, and two brothers. Even now we still connect with those two brothers. I mean, those two boys. Man, like, it triggers a lot of things. Like, because I didn't have a dad, I didn't know how to have that relationship with them. you know um it was hard to say I love you to them. It was hard to even give them a hug. It was hard to watch their games. Sometimes one of them, I took them to play rugby, and then when he said to me that he doesn't want to play anymore, I was really upset. Because knowing that I'm giving this opportunity to this guy, and which is the opportunity that I never had. My dad could have standing on the side of the sideline and yelling at me, come on, man, like, it could be behind me, or, just have a little push, but I'm giving that opportunity to this guy, but he's not taking it. So I was really upset about it. So it was really tough. But when I had my own girls, that got even tougher, because, the abuse. that happened to me back in Samoa, starting to come, like it was way up. Like it was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, what if this happened to my girls? What if something that happened to me happened to my girls? How am I going to deal with it? You know, even the way that I was brought up, like in you know, in Samoa, you know, it's kind of like giving you orders. You do that, you do that, you do that, and if you don't do it, you get a big hiding, and I mean big hiding. You know, so I was really worried about it, and I always say that I won't do that to my girls, but I didn't stick to it because automatically, when I get angry, man, I used to smack my girls, you know, and genitals, you know, yelling at them and screaming. So I was really struggle with it until I actually say to my wife, and I say, my wife will stand in the middle and say, no, stop. This is, you know, you can't smack them anymore. This is not right. So I realized then I said, wow, I'm actually doing exactly the opposite the way that I wanted to treat my kids. You know, I want to be a good father, you know, but I'm actually doing exactly what had happened to me. So I need to find a way. So it really has, you know, have a massive impact into me and the way I was as a father to my girls. And I guess that was the wake up call for me.
Yeah, I think everyone my age group, or you know, it's normal to have those kind of like traumas. You know, like back when you're younger, the way you're being treated in regards to discipline. You know, that was the first thing you did. If you didn't listen, it wasn't to talk. It was to, you know, just just get a smack. You know, that's just normal and within our cultures. So hearing that, I think for me, and I have two girls myself. So I guess the learnings that I've had from when I was younger, I think I wanted to be that change. You know, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell my girls this is what it. And then like when as soon as my girls see like, you know, that being spoiled, and you know, taking things for granted or not eating food that's put out in front of them, it then comes back to me like I didn't have half the stuff in it. Like, you know, then the pressures, the stress levels are like shooting through the roof. You're like, okay, what do I do now? But for me, and again, I think I've said it a million times on all my podcasts, is that I'm actually still learning throughout this whole process with my kids, and it's not. I think it's for my wife. I think she's been like the person that's been holding me. She's like exactly the same thing was you know, stood in front of us. Like, you don't do that. That's, you know, how are they going to learn? You know, they're going to do the same thing 5 minutes later. You're going to just keep giving them a hiding. I'm like, no, but if they don't want to eat food that's there, when are we going to feed them? You know, we're going to go out and buy them the food? No, because and then, you know, that all that starts to play in your mind. But no, it's I guess for me, it's I don't think I'll ever be a perfect father. At the same time, you know, whenever they're like in their teens, but for you, Swanky, you know, you're and Muffy, the kids, you know, older their mind. How's that experience for you guys?
Like you
Bro,
said, Us,
guess what?
like it's all learning, right? I'm probably the same boat as Paul, like as all of you's our fathers were strict as. So we're trying to be the lenient one, the balanced one, like lenient but still strict in the same time, you know. So like, yeah, so to give and take, you know. But you gotta let them
Definitely
know,
is
hey,
a
still
Swiggy.
Islander.
We, you know, also la fussy fafia, eh?
Ah,
Like, get a hiding, get a hiding. You never learn. The thing what we
Yeah,
need to do is to sit back and think. You think, okay, fussy fafia ika, but you didn't really think. Yeah. But
yeah,
we should be the ones saying, okay, maybe we should stop it. We should think, does it even work? Because in the
yeah,
for that time, for the next 5 minutes, it might work. But it's like what Terry just said. he's gonna go do it again. Like next time he's gonna forget. I think when they learn more, when they grow as they grow, they learn more. Then they learn how to to listen a little bit more. But I mean, like what you just asked, Terry. Like I hit up Swanky on the weekend with the boys as well, and I was like, like it's we've always explained like Terry's got the younger ones, and then Swanky's got the little medium in between ones, and then I got the old kids, and all I can say is it just gets harder. I'll tell you that.
Don't say
It's
that.
meant to get easier. My kids are what 20 and 19, and you think it gets easier. And it should. I hope you can I hope every dad can build the relationship that's so open with their kids
Yeah.
that when they do get to that age, your kids have no excuse to not be able to speak English because they were raised in New Zealand, and if they can have that open communication, that's like free flowing, swearing if they have to, but as long as it's open and honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's the hard thing for me right now, because speaking from experience, my kids are very old, but I find it very tough still just to talk to them on a level. I mean, you got to be honest. Like being a Samoan boy growing up in a Samoan family, you didn't have conversations with your mom and your dad. You were just said, "Wa ipola," full of ipos. Kaya koka, pick up the rubbish, do this. You were told. You were never said, "Son, do you feel like washing dishes? And then tomorrow you can go." No. We had hey, it was you did this, and you do this, and that's all I said. No questions asked. Whereas these days, all of a sudden they got choices, but you grew up knowing otherwise. You grew up knowing just one way. That was it. But we are those people, like what Paul said. We're the ones that should change that. Flip it around now. We understand. So, I mean, Paul will tell us. We got all night. We got heaps of minutes left, and Paul's gonna continually tell us. So I'll leave it to Paul. But
No, it's a really good sharing, bro. Like what you said, it's exactly what I said in the beginning. In Samoan way, we give orders. This is what you need to do. You do that. You do that. You do that. If you don't do it, then you get the hiding. And the way they show the love is giving you a smack in the head or smack in the mouth, or giving you a hiding with their heart, that hopefully that one day you'll learn. But without the parents knowing that, without us knowing that, it's actually distance us from it's putting a massive gap between us and our kids by actually smacking them or punishing them. So in a way that I was thinking about, how am I going to build this relationship so I can be friends with my kids rather than a father's relationship? Because the way that we used to be father relationship, it's like the father is the king and the son is the slaves, because that's the way you look at it. It should be like I don't know, friends and friends. Like the way we should be talking is like friends and friends. Like if you need some cuddle, come to me and say, Dad, this thing happened to school, and I need to feel better, bro. Just give me some hug, man. And you'll be able to give that. You don't get that from your dad and your mom and dad. You know what I mean? Like you get to smack. Go and fight again. Just go on. Who tell you to do those things? You know what I mean? So in the mind of the kids thinking, oh man, I need to be tough. So it's a really tricky one. And then when we become older, like I'm mentally preparing myself, when my kids getting older, I have to remind myself that my kids are gifted from God. They're not my kids. They actually God's kid. They gifted to me. My job is to role model them and guide them. Do you get what I mean? Because I have no expectation on them. And I'm trying to learn that. So when I get older, I don't have to put any expectation on them. What do they want? What did the God's purpose for them? Can I help them to achieve that purpose so they can serve? So, and that's what motivates me. You know, it's tough one though. It's tough because in the Samoan father, I want to like, nah, you should become a lawyer. You should become a successful. You should own your business. You should be following what is to do. You know, I should be telling them you should go to church. You should like, you know, but I feel like, oh, is that really, you know, our creators want them to, or was it that me wanted to be a big man and, you know, want to know by everybody? So yeah, it's a definitely tough one, and it's a lesson that I'm still myself learning as well with my girls. So I definitely hear the brother Muffy. You know, I can hear you, man. Like, you know, it's good that your kids are older, so we can hear the experience that you've been through. So
that's why I love the dynamic. That's why I love the dynamic of having those
100, yeah.
because the age groups are different. Like, and I've been picking off these guys' brains since I've met them, since I've known them. Just gonna drop some comments from the chat. Shout out to the Usolans. Just commented, the most important thing is to help our kids understand the why.
Yeah, that's
Also
a good one, eh?
From John. J Beats. I give my kids everything I never had and more. I struggle with this as well. But I think discipline is huge. But to remember, discipline and abuse are two different things.
Correct.
Shout out.
Mm.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, there's a smack, and then there's a magua fasi wa palai, you know.
Yeah.
Two different things, eh?
Yeah. There's definitely a discipline. Like, you know, we still have to carry that discipline with our kids. You know, I'm also aware that, you know, I don't just give to the kids, because in a way that we, even though our upbringing was tough, that you know, we didn't get everything, but we learn a lot from it as well.
A lot,
you know, to never, you know, to go through the tough time, how we can deal with it. I think the only thing that I can see with a lot of our Samoan kids, and especially from us that were born in the island, moved from the island here, our confidence is, and especially speaking in front of the people, English is our barrier. You know, when honestly, your parents probably, were all your parents born here or were born in Samoa?
No.
Samo.
Yeah, so them, they will know what you know, what I'm talking about. It's like, it's tough to like explain to people, like, you know, to European. The English is a really tough barrier for us. Like, honestly, I didn't know how to speak English when I first moved here. You know, I use my hands. I have to go and play to play for Pakuranga, because there's a lot of European boys, so I can learn. So I never went to school here. I didn't go to English schools or anything. It was all by listen and just talking about it, you know.
Yeah, also, just going back to your journey and your story. You know, growing up in Samoa, and then you made I'm not too sure how this all happened. You made the move to New Zealand. How was that for you, bro? And the barriers that came with it.
Oh man, that was a tough. You know, Samoa, when you apply for visa over there, it's really tough to come here when you're single over there. But I didn't know my cousin. Grateful for my cousin that done. You know, it's pretty much a false application. So she was applied for my visa to come here using the McDonald's letter. You know, and I didn't know all these. You know, my cousin prepared all the visa. All I had was my cousin gave me my passport, and they say, "You've got a visa, and it's valid for the whole year." And I said, "Oh man, that was good." So I went to my uncle that had a shop. He paid for my airfare, booked a ticket onto the plane, and then come here. So on my way, you know, when my uncle dropped me off at the airport, he said to me, and I always remember this. He said to me, "I will never want to see you again here, back in Samoa, until you sort your stuff out, sort your paper out." What he means is sort my paper out. So, you know, I say, okay, I'll go. So when I came here, it was May 2003. I arrived here, May 2003, and And then we went and see a lawyer. So after two weeks, and my brother mentioned it to me. My brothers and my sister were already here. I said, we need to check your visa and see what is the status, you know. So we went and saw a lawyer, and the lawyer said, your visa is already expired. I was like, what? And I said, your visa, it's already expired, but you need to, you can apply, you can extend it, but you need to pay this much, you know. So yeah, I was, so from that time, I only just find out then, and they say the visa is not valid for the whole year. It's actually only 2 weeks. I was here for holiday, 2 weeks holiday from work, and I need to go back. And I said to my brother and my sister, I mean, they did ask me, you know, do you want to go back? And I say, I wanted to stay here, and I'll find a way how to stay here. And my brother actually got really emotional about it, and say, and even my sister say, you know, do you know it's really tough to be an overstayer here? You know, people will talk behind your back. You don't know if gonna find a job over here. I said to him, bro, I'll find a way how to stay here. You know, my uncle said to me, you know, I'll never want to see you again until you do your paper. So I'll find a way how to do it. So yeah, from then I lost a lot of money. We lost a lot of money. You know, lawyers after lawyers after lawyers. So I ended up 5 years overstayer here. 5 years overstayer was my first job. I don't know if you guys remember the recycle bin. You know, the recycle truck that had a truck and trailer, and pick up the rubbish, you know, on the side of the road, and, you know, separate the plastic, and you know, the boys that stand behind the truck and picking up the rubbish. So I was doing that for like, it's almost like 2 years. I think I was doing it. I remember $10 an hour was paid under the table. But you know, you run from 6 o'clock will start. You know, 6 to 6 some days. When you get to winter, as soon as I step out of the truck, you get wet until we finish. You know, so but those tough times, like it really does. I guess like the journey, you know, that really reminded me that, you know, grateful, you know, just grateful where I came from, and how far I actually have come. So it wasn't easy. Honestly, it wasn't that easy.
I think for me, and just hearing that off the bat, like 5 years, and you know, for yourself, you have nothing for you here. Like nothing's given to you. Like if you think about someone that's living in New Zealand, they get, you know, healthcare, everything just on a platter. You know, this is free. Do this. This is free. This is, and then you have, you know, your situation where you 5 years, you know, under the table. You have to still watch your back, in case something else, you know, any wrong thing you do, and even, you know, I've heard quite a few stories of you know, family members that you know, basically didn't have a visa. You know, they had to hide, get paid on the table, and if you know, you're working for a company and then they'll screw you over, what can you do? You got no rights here, and the company will just, you know, I'm not going to pay you this week. Oh, how about I'll pay you in the next month, and that's how. You now have to look for another job, and you got to hope that this job doesn't, you know, have records, or just, you know, that. So, and what I'm trying to say is, for you, man, yeah, that struggle itself, did you ever experience it? And you know, I hope no one else goes through it, because New Zealand is a really good place to stay, but there are quite a few people that take advantage of, especially us islanders, and the help that we give, or you know, the stuff that we give back to New Zealand.
Yeah, no, it's a you know, it's funny you say that, because, you know, as I said, we lost a lot of money with the lawyers. Obviously, take a lot, you know, advantage of, you know, you pay this, you pay this, you pay this, you pay this for this and all that. But with so funny enough, you know, with the health, you know, I was scared to go to the hospital, you know, and especially get injured. Even I got chased twice. I was still driving, and it's funny. Like I had a license, I had a learner. I had no idea how I got it. It was through a friend. I remember where I said it. I said it at Manukau, the AA at Manukau. So I had a learner, and I also paid tax. I had an IRD number. So and I had no idea how I got it. But again, that was through friends. A friend, I think it was a friend that was working in the IRD, and then someone that I knew that was, take me through, and just I don't know how they do it, but at that time, the immigration and I think the immigration and all the other organization, they weren't connect back then. But yeah,
back in the days, back in the
yeah.
days, it was so easy to do that.
Yeah.
I know someone.
Because being overstayers or having a lot of overstayers in New Zealand at that time, I remember my auntie was one, or she isn't now, but I remember my mom got clued up so well that she basically taught my auntie how to live in New Zealand as an overstayer. She worked, and I'm pretty sure she worked delivering the paper that was meant probably put under my name. So my newspaper was coming, but my auntie would deliver it, and when my pay came in, it went to an account that she had. So I think our friends, our families who helped us, or the overstayers, to live in New Zealand, because that's what you wanted. They had all the tricks back then, eh? And I know because my mum is not she's pretty onto it, because my auntie to this day has like lived all these years, 20 years plus in New Zealand, and she's got her papers now. Like that's how long it's taken.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like back in those days, probably when you first came, Paul, all the konfikis, to like
Yeah.
to luffy you but still get you work. They knew somebody who knew somebody from church that could. You can go to driver's taxi for a couple of hours or whatever it was, and you get paid for it.
Yeah.
Those were the hard times. I think that's like that you always that you mentioned, like it's hard. Those days was you had to hide. I mean, you couldn't even miss out with somebody because they'll go and cuddle you. That was another thing you had to be worried about. So it's a lot. There was a lot of things going on back then, but you had to know how to live in New Zealand. If with all those tricks, if you were an overstay. So yeah, it's hats off to you for pulling it off. It's not an easy thing, and it probably wasn't easy then either. But man, I've seen it. I've personally seen people who were and have not been sent back, because I've got so many cousins who came and have been sent back because they're naughty. They they get drunk, they get crash a car, and they get locked up. Next minute they're going back.
Yeah.
So hats off to you also for being able to live it right, because that was the hardest, probably the hardest thing for you.
The system.
Yeah.
It wasn't always right, bro. Like to be honest, I was playing rugby at that time. I was playing topside for Pakuranga, and the rugby environment. I play on a Saturday. Once we finish, we get drunk. And each club in South Auckland, we'll drive to Mangere at the Apia Way. We'll go to Otara. And there's always like a problems. So I have no idea. I don't know how I didn't get picked up. To be honest, but obviously there was a blessing on me that I was meant to stay here. So my granddad passed away, so my granddad, that was my father figure. He passed away in 2005. And I couldn't go back. I was talking to him on the phone, and I was telling him, "Would you like me to come back? Or would you want me to stay?" And he said to me, like, "I don't want you to come back. I want you to do your paper before you can come back." And he said, so that was a tough one. was a that was probably the toughest one, and that even but that even motivated me to actually stay in the country, you know, which is one of the reason why I end up with Nicole, which is my wife now. Asking her, asking her was tough, to tell her. That was the breaking point for me. Like, if my granddad's, asked me to do this, then I will have to find a way how to stay here. I follow Nicole at home, ask her to, I need some help. I'm overstayer here, straight up. Would you be able to help me? And she did. She stuck with me all that time. She helped me. I went back to Samoa though. I ended up back to Samoa in 2006, 2007. Only because the immigration sent the order. I have to. If I don't go back in this day, they will deport me. And I was. I reckon as without Nicole and her mum and dad advice, and they say you've got to go back to Samoa, otherwise you wouldn't be able to apply, and you'll get deported and you'll get punished for I think 5 years or 10 years. So yeah, I went back and sold my stuff back home.
Thank you. So
yeah, some really tough time. But what Muffy's saying though is it's actually teach us like now, like the resilience that our people had back then. We come up with ideas how we can do things, but these days, once things get hard, like the kids will have breakdowns. Like, oh my gosh, like you had a lot of mental illness and and not talking about it, the things. But back then, we find a ways, like even your parents and your aunties, and we find a way, even though it was it's a tough upbringing, but we find a different way how we can deal with it.
100%, man.
So, like I'm sure all of us and most whoever, if you're listening or watching, like we all have our parents' generation where a sibling came over and then they brought everyone else over. That sort of story sort of resonates along the like all of us islanders. Paul, you said you came to New Zealand and you went back. When did you? When did you? When did you stood your ground and spoke your truth?
It's kind of freeze
about your abuse.
I think the Uso's internet's a bit frozen there.
Bro, like, sorry.
Just if you can repeat that in Swinky.
When did you stood your ground and told your truth about your abuse?
Can you repeat that again?
Can you hear me, Uso?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
When did you like decide to stand your ground and speak your truth and about your abuse? About being abused.
Oh man, it was honestly I got caught so many times. Like, even my wife caught me looking at YouTube and things like that. So but it was hard for me, to be honest. It was hard for me to be honest to my wife, even my partner at the time. But the only reason why I did, because when we moved into our gym, so we started a business. My thinking was, if I had a business and I had lots of money, I will forget all the past. I will forget all those things that happened to me in the past. But when we went into our facility, it really broke me. Like, it just broke me in pieces, because I realized then that we've got the gym, we've got the building, but I still not feeling happy. I still had this weight, on my shoulders that I still haven't dealt with, and I will still worry about, what if something happened to my girls, you know. I still ask that question. So I was planning to go back to Samoa. I was planning to run away from my wife and my family. I was planning to go back and dealt with the guy that done it to me back in Samoa. And I tell you this, I was planning to go back to shoot him, not telling anybody, right? But on the same day that I had a plan, on my computer at the gym, there was a photo of my two girls on my screen, and our two foster boys photos that was on the wall. They saved me because I look at their photos and reminded me who I am and where I came from. It just reminding me that, man, you grow up without a father. What's gonna happen if you go back to Samoa and something happened to you? Your girl's gonna grow up without you. And that broke me in tears. All of a sudden, my tears just running down. And I walk out at my office, and my wife, I remember my wife was sitting at the office, at the reception, said to me, and I said, what happened? Like, seeing me was just, tears running down, and my hands was on my head. I was like, holy moly, what's going on here? So to say, what happened? And I say, I have something that I need to tell you, that I've been holding it for quite a long time. And I've been hiding it, but I can't handle it anymore. And I told her, what had happened to me. And I think the best thing that ever happened to me was my wife gave me a hug and said to me, it's okay, we can actually do this together. We can get some help. So that's kind of, the weight on my shoulder was just like, wow, it's freedom, So we went straight away. So that was the only reason why I actually honest to myself is obviously, my kids and my upbringing. I realized then I didn't want my girls to grow up without me. I didn't want my girls. I know what it likes without a dad. I know it's not a nice thing, and now I'm going to put my girls through this, and what happened to the guy that done it to me with his kids. If I go back to Samoa, there's a lot of people. So I realized there's a lot of people that's going to impact, that's going to have a massive impact in my village, my families, his kids, my family, my kids. So yeah, it was quite, I didn't realize how big it is that was going to be, but just little things that I needed to do is to meet, just to find a help. So we did. We went to the doctor, asked for a psychologist, someone I can talk to. And lucky enough, I got a Samoan psychologist. Yeah. So, she really understand. She really understand where I came from. She can speak Samoan. She's, she really did. But we only have, and it's funny, like in Otahu to Auckland, we only have free appointment. So you get free psychologists. In South Auckland, you get 6. So I was under 4. I only had 4 free appointments for psychologists. So yeah, that was the day.
That's quite sad, eh? Like regarding like the appointments that you get, like the free appointments, and like if you want people to talk, you need to have so many. You don't have to have a limit, because you get to that point where look, I've never been to one, but for yourself, get into 4, maybe you might not even reach to where it actually you need to like let out. Yeah, you maybe need the 10th one, but I think here it's quite sad that there's a limit for everything. But just going back to yourself, and I guess making a decision that no, I don't need to do this. My kids are important, and then I just want to touch on how you created this business. Looking after people. You helped people, you helped men, and then for us, I just want to hear how this all panned out for you, bro.
Yeah. So with the better lifestyle, we start looking at, because I've kind of had this mindset of why our people come from Samoa and then always stuck at the warehouse, always work at the warehouse. I was working at the warehouse. I was packing. I think my highest rate at the warehouse was $20.20, and I was really happy with that. But I wasn't happy that I came from Samoa, and then I stuck in a warehouse, and I hear a lot of people that come from Samoa, working at the warehouse. Like, this is us. This is a good job. You got what I mean? But I knew there's something there. Like, I wanted to do something completely different. But then my wife told me, and I said, you always like to go to the gym, and you like talking to people. Maybe that's your passion. So we did. I done a course, online course, the PT, and in 2015, we went down to the park, down at Murphy Park in Otahu, and we said we're gonna start the boot camps. And we had one client, which is my wife's mum, and we started a boot camp. We started outdoor boot camps. We had 2 teachers living in Otahu that I done a PT with them. I went into their house and do it. We drop a lot of flyers, walking to letterbox and putting flyers out. And that's when I start talking on a live on a Facebook. Man, it was so hard. Honestly, it was so hard for me to actually, my English. I don't know if anyone can. Maybe I can find some video way back when I first started compared to what it is now. Man, there's nowhere near what it is now. Some people were mocking me on my lives, like we're saying, "You fob, you can't even speak English, and you wanted to help people? Serious?" I came home and I said to my wife, and my wife said to me, and I said, "Oh, just forget about it. They have nothing better to do, and why do they follow you if they don't like the way you do?" So yeah, but the goal is to have a building. Like, that was the dream, is to have a building that was painted blue, white, and have our logo on it. And it's gonna call Better Lifestyle. And where the Better Lifestyle is spelled BETTA? It's a fob spelling. When I first moved here, when I first moved here, there were a lot of New Zealand born kids, like, that were mocking me, like, you're fob, you dress like fob, you talk like fob. But I didn't know what a fob means. There's American, was that American, what is it called? There's actually a brand. Was it Fubu or Fob? I don't know. But I thought it was
Fubu.
Fubu, yeah, Fubu, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a
Do you want to go put on the gears?
So, but then I realized that it's not it's actually mocking me, because just the way I was talking, I was born in Samoa, and I was trying to act like a cool kid over here, playing topside, and things like that. So yeah, that's where the Better Lifestyle. So it was supposed to be, I moved here to have a better lifestyle, but we changed the spelling to a false spelling, BETTA.
Wow.
So it's kind of like a motivation to me that, you
Where
can call me
it all
Fob.
started, eh? Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can call me Fob, but I can go all the way. I can do anything. So I
I can
wanted
be
to,
successful, eh?
yeah,
Yeah, that's the one.
encouraging
Yes.
any kids out there that It doesn't matter which families you come from. You know, if you come from families that don't have a dad, or maybe violence, or maybe foster, or maybe you come from Samoa, man, you can still do it, and you can still do it.
Yeah.
So that's where the journey start. But again, that I mentioned it earlier, that I thought having a business, it will fix all my problems that I was drinking and suppressed them, right? But as we got bigger and move into our building, I should be happy, because that's the dream, is having a building, having our own HQ and our base. But it didn't. It actually caused a lot of problem in myself personally and our relationship. But I'm now can sit back and I say, man, that obviously must be the reason why we went there, and I'm grateful. The opportunity that we have, me and my wife, we learn a lot from that experience.
Going back to when you shared with your wife the abuse, not how long after that did you share with your family, or did you
Bro,
speak with your family on that? Or?
no. So that was one of my mistake. I will say my mistake, but it wasn't really a mistake, because as soon as I saw the first appointment with my psychologist, I felt like I'm free. I can talk about it. I can tell anybody what had happened. So I went on a Facebook. I was posting it on a Facebook. I was talking about it. I was live. And then one day my wife was in tears and she was really upset, and she was telling me, it's actually affecting them. It was affecting my wife, because now I can talk to anybody, but what about my girls? What about people that they're gonna judge my girls? Oh, look, that's their father. What about their friends, that they're gonna know that this is what happened to me? And so it was kind of, I was happy. I went out and tell everybody. I was free. I never told my brothers and sisters, my siblings, this is what I was going to do. But I realized that it's actually, it's have a massive impact into my siblings. So I did wanted to. I asked the counseling, some of the Samoan counseling group, to help me how I can deal with, and how I can tell my brothers and sisters, because it's not normal to us, like, to talk about these things in our families. It's not normal. We don't talk about sex and abuse and in front of our parents and in front of like brothers and sisters.
Or sisters.
Yeah, it's not normal. But how would we learn? Like, how can we actually talk about knowing that is this happened to you? Did it happen to you, or only just me? Do you get what I mean? Like, so, but unfortunately, I didn't. I end up having just one-on-one, and obviously in the Facebook, my older brother find out what was going on, so he was really angry about it. He had a go at me about it, like you're putting our families and our up there without even thinking about it. So yeah, I kind of like thinking, why? But I keep reminding myself though, like, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of actually talking about it? And there was one thing that why is encouraging me, and it was really encouraging for me to talk about it and go out and share with everybody. There's only one man that can judge me. right? It's our Creator. If God's purpose through me to speak the truth and tell and heal somebody, or maybe lead somebody to come forward and heal themselves, then that's me. If I don't talk about it, then it's nothing gonna happen. Do you get what I mean? So I told myself that forget about your family, forget about the reputation of your family, forget about the shame of others. Do what I ask you to do. Do what you have to do to, there's some people out there, there's some means out there that actually need this talk. So that was the reason.
And it's sad to see because you come across stories on social media or these platforms where people come out to their families. They seek, they tell
Yeah.
or someone's abused, but the family turns around and wants to protect the family name or the reputation. Like it's sad to see. It's out there, but like you said, or this is why we have the conversations. This is why we have these talanoas, like how you come on talanoa and share your story. So I don't know, normalizes the conversation, keeps it going. Like
I think you just
someone
got
out
to
there
remember,
relate.
like, sorry, Swig, I think you just got to remember, like, in the islands, totally different now. It's totally different to where we are now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that thing going on there. There's a lot of don't talk about it. There's a lot of suppression. There's a lot of it's really sad. But I think one thing I've always said especially to you two, is that that's what our job is, eh? Like, when I say our job, I don't mean like Terry and Swinky and Muffy. I'm saying people of this generation, our age group, we have that knowledge to teach our parents, because your parents will listen to you at this age because they're a lot older than us now. We're the ones to educate our parents to understand what it's really supposed to be like, and for them to change their ways, in the hopes that, because we understand it, they didn't. They just doing what that was normal for them. Was just, I want to be so, save the family's name and all that. But these days, we know better. So I say it's upon us, our generation, our age group type of thing, to correct it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we're perfect, so we should go out there and correct it, because nobody's perfect. But what I am saying is that we're smart enough to know what's wrong and what's right, and we're also smart enough to know and turn around and say, no, we need to do it like this now, eh? Because that's been wrong for too far long. Like,
Yeah. Can I just say this? Sorry, Muffy, for interrupting. Just something that come up. I just want to say this. That's where the break the cycle came from. It was again through my journey. So I feel like if I continue the way I was going, I'm actually passing on the cycle. I'm going to pass on. So the cycle is never stop. It's going to continue. So what Muffy was talking about is it's our turn to actually break this cycle. If our parents went through themselves, pass it on to us. Are we going to pass on to our kids, or are we going to make a stop here and make a change in a way that, because our parents, and this is really tough, because we also have to respect our parents, right? In a way that not to overstep, because in a way that, say, don't feel poko okay, feel poko ma, don't, you still know nothing, all right? So we still have to respect them. We tell them, and we respect you, we love you, but can we do it this way? Because this is why we end up like this. We were scared of you, Dad. We love you, but we were scared of you because of this.
Yeah.
So to get what I mean, though. So that's
Yeah.
where the break the cycle has come from. I want to work and knowing that, man, you guys, you've done this, you doing this, you doing it, we're doing it, and the talking, the sharing, and hopefully that out there that we can trigger somebody, some means out there will say, man, how can I do this? So I'm just really grateful.
I like how you said, you had to talk to your wife about it, because sometimes, even though you feel like you've given everything or spoken about everything in your life, but really you haven't, because you still have this weight on your shoulders, and then letting it all out with your wife, and just seeing how you know how successful you are now, and continue to be, and not only keeping all that inside you, you're actually letting it out to not only us, our viewers, but also you do it on a daily basis with all your everyone you teach, everyone you train. So for us, man, that's such a good thing to hear, and I know you have so much more to share with us, also, but just want to move on to, you know after the fact, after you've created this business, you moved on to creating a better life. How's that been for yourself, your wife, and the girls, man?
um I will say, a lot of people that look at, as, or maybe define success as having a lots of money, making a lot of profits, and things like that. But I will say, in the last 7 years of our journey, the best asset that we had from the business is our relationship. As I heard Muffy say, I will leave, my business to actually care for my family, right? So it has been really, I will say, like, really fulfilling journey, like, helping people and seeing, a lot of, because the reason why we created Better Lifestyle is helping our Pacific people. That was the reason, because I've seen a lot of people that move from Samoa to here, with very healthy body. We have in Samoa, we have a natural food, a good lifestyle. We don't really worry about too much, and I've seen a lot of people here struggle with their health, right? So that was the reason. That was the reason why we said, we're going to stay in South Auckland and we try our best to actually help, and got to where we are now. In the last 2 years, it's been really challenging for us. All right. But for saying that, through the COVID, through everything that we've been through, it was still learning for us, knowing that, there is a purpose for us, the reason why we continue with this business. So, as I don't know if you guys notice, before the last lockdown, my wife actually diagnosed with brain tumor, and that was the end. That was the end point. For us, I realized then that we need to move on. There's something here that I need, and I always, my values is my family. I love my family. As Muffy said, I will leave anything else to be with my family. That was the decision that we make, and that was the reason why we actually move, with the Better Lifestyle.
Let's touch on Break the Cycle. Is that a group, or is that a group?
So Break the Cycle is the plan. The plan going forward is actually there's there's an event that's coming soon. There's a live event. It's going to be in East Tamaki. I just confirmed the venue, so it's going to be in East Tamaki Rugby Club. A live event on Saturday morning, and that's going to talk. It's going to talk about three. We're going to have three topics that we're going to talk about. Anchor, addiction, and acceptance. So, in a way that I wanted to create a group that we can actually talk about and alive, and share some thoughts, honest, with the means, and then also gonna have a support group that we can have a night that we can just hang out and talk about stuff, because it's pretty much just creating a safe space, that we can actually talk about it with anything that you're going through, in life. And then later on, I'm hoping that we'll also get some help with some exercise. We can do some, go to the gym and lift some weights, or maybe go out to hiking or walking, fishing. So that's the plan.
Nice.
of the break the cycle. It's doing a bit of a support, and then hopefully that we can coach whoever that wants want more. We can actually do that.
Do you want Muffy there too? Because look at his big arms, man. He's like flexing it tonight.
He's got some shoulder exercises he can.
So he can lift the weights around.
Nice.
Just come around but nah, man, it's the journey that you've shared, man. It's amazing, and how you continue to keep giving back, knowing that you're going through stuff still going through stuff, and give our love to the wifey, and
Thank you.
that still giving back. We're definitely, I guess, if you have anything you want us to try and help you out with, in regards to better life, we're 100% in with that. Also, I think at this time, we usually, throughout the show, we take on things that we want to give back to our viewers, our listeners at a later point, and our podcast listeners. So it's an advice or just tips that I guess we've taken away from tonight. So we'll just pass that over to Swanky, because he's always got the gems.
First and foremost, thank you, Paul, for taking the time out of your evening to join our little Talanoa. It's just inspiring to see more and more spaces created out there, and to finally meet those who's putting in the work. Like it's really God's work, like spreading positivity, helping with well-being and health. It's really God's work. So with all it's just awesome to see, inspiring to see many groups like Dave Latille and Brown Pride and 275 Usos, and now with Paul, Break the Cycle and Better Lifestyle. Just want to say, thank you for taking the time out of your evening. And like Terry said, if you ever need any shoulder exercise technique advice, Muffy's available. That's it from me, Usos.
Sazaki. So me next, Terry, is it?
Yeah, just did I see you do some pull-ups before we...
I would first of all, Kai lava Paul for jumping on tonight with our Talanoa. Thank you to your family for lending their dad to us for an hour. It's awesome to hear people's stories and where they started, where the hardships they've been through, and where they are today. Where your story is definitely a success. My advice that I would leave tonight from tonight's show is confidence. The word Paul brought up earlier in the show. I'd like for anybody out there who's listening or struggling with this, that it's just, confidence could be your start. Confidence could be the start of you being the better person, or being able to speak out about what you're going through, being able to help the next your mate that asked you, for a bit of help. Um, your confidence will help you with everything, in regards to those. It's confidence plays a big part. I can see where those of Paul came from. Confidence was having broken English, but still being able to get up and speak, and being confident and telling himself that I can still be a success, regardless of people being, unable to his English, being an overstayer. I mean, you heard a story tonight that, there's not many people who can go through all that and still come out, on top, and I mean it, like being on top. So yeah, I leave everybody tonight with a bit of confidence. You don't have to have a whole lot of it, but if you have some, man, pull it out and use it. It could be the next step that you've been looking for. So yeah, thanks again, Paul, for tonight.
Thank you.
Shuttles. And before we pass it over to the host, for me, there's again, man, there's always gems coming from Paul, bro. He's a very humble man, but at the same time, you can tell just by hearing his story, he's very confident in himself too. So for me, I guess just the word success, word success doesn't mean having all this amount of money to prove that you are a, successful person. I guess it's built around family, spiritually, and having the why that you have created, and making those changes. So thank you to a big thank you to Paul and the family, and the younger ones for letting you go for at least nearly an hour and a half. I know you probably didn't want to stay on that long, but I think Swanky's got the money for you at a later point. But so thank you, brother. You've yeah, bro, it's so much to take away, and I'm grateful that I've heard your story.
Now, thank you. Just before we finish, and I just want to say thank you to the Lord. Thank you for getting us together, and hopefully that this is His way of using our story and using our talanoa to serve His purpose. Because all I can say tonight is, we each one of us have a calling. God has called us to do things, right? Somebody might be called to be a minister. Somebody might call to pick up bottles and rubbish. Somebody is called to train people, like myself, and things like that, to share our story, our past story to other people. So each one of us have a story. Some of our past story, it can be our motivation story. It can motivate us. It's not always like a bad story. But when we actually doing it for the right reason, I believe that we can do anything. But when we actually doing it for the wrong reason, it's a big struggle. It's a big struggle. I believe that your guys' parents grow up in the islands that the money wasn't the focus. Getting together with families and happiness was the focus. The laugh, the camaraderie, the smiley, and just be able to share with families the whatever food that they get. I think that was it. So like for me, I think I don't know. I'm hoping. I'm hoping that what I share tonight and what we share tonight, to any means out there, to come forward. No matter how hard it is, everybody can actually judge. They can talk about it. But there's only one man that can judge us. One. There's only one man that can judge us. It's our good Lord, the man that created us. All right. He's the only one. the judges, the lawyers can judge us. They can put us in jail. We can come back again, or maybe there. But after all that judges, we still have to judge, by the big man. So no matter what we've been through, how hard it is, please, find a way how to do it. Whether you're gonna come and talk to us, whether you can, pick up the phone and connect with me. We, happy to sit down. So I wanted to say thank you to you guys for what you guys do. Thank you for stepping out there and do your bit to help our community. This is your serving. I just want, that's what I said earlier. I'm hoping that our good Lord is happy for what we share tonight, and hopefully that will heal some men out there, some brothers out there, that to give them the love. They are love. We here to support, and there is a safe space for us to actually talk about it. All these things. So again, in the name of the big man, it's all glory for him. So thank you. Continue your work, man. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, Uzo. Thank you, Uzo.
Thank you, Uzo. Thank you for the bravery as well, sharing your story. It's a really tough story to share. Thank you for the courage to coming on and sharing on our little Talanoa tonight. So thank you, Uzo.
Very tough, man, to try and put it in an hour. I know that we try and put that story within an hour, and I don't think anyone's ever done it, because there's always more that we want to hear. So in saying that, I would love to have you on at a later stage, sharing the rest of life, and how everything panned out, and just the journey, bro. So thank you, brother, for jumping on. You'll hear, I guess we'll be in your DMs about everything that you need help for, especially to do with social media, which is not my forte. It's Swanky, so Swanky will be there. Also, love to the family, and love to everyone out there that's listening to us tonight, because this is it's been a bloody good Talanoa, especially I listened for myself. So in saying that, if you have any last words you want to leave with our viewers, our listeners, or yours, and we'll close up.
Nah, just just want to remind I do have a if you guys are okay with that, if I can announce the my live event coming in on the 23rd. On the 23rd, it's going to be on East Tamaki Rugby Club at 9 to 11. It's just we're talking about these topics, and hopefully that we can have a morning tea, or somebody's gonna cook pangikeke for us to have some morning tea. It is it's $20. It's just to cover the cost of the venue. If anyone that wanted to come on board, I will share the link and a flyer to the boys, and see if anyone out there that will wanted to come on board. Apart from that, for the viewers, I'm hoping that that whatever that we share tonight, that will help somebody out there. Step out. It's not that bad at all. If honestly, if I can come from Samoa with the broken English and do it, come on, somebody out there have a big, massive that God has called them and give them the gift, but they're just sitting there and waiting for it. This is your opportunity, man. This is your opportunity to step out. And there's a massive problems in our, in this community, our means. And I believe if our means heal and come forward and happy,
Amen.
Man, everything will be fine. Honestly, I believe
okay.
in my heart, I think this is what we've been called to do. Us. We can heal this land. So I don't know. Is there any man out there that can actually join the group and come on board and join the brothers? For saying that, I would love to come on later. Later on, we're actually moving down to Tauranga in the next couple of weeks. It's the next part of the journey, so I'm just following the calling. I'm just following the calling. So, and I'm going to work with some of the men's group down there. So, I would love to come on board, and I would love to come on board and share the journey again that we've been.
100%, bro.
Yeah,
Sure, we'll keep in touch always.
Thank you again.
Shuttle.
Sure, guys. This is For the Boys podcast. Thank you to Paul. Thank you to the brothers. We've kept you long enough. We're going to be sharing more of this to come in the later weeks. So thank you to the team. Thank you to everyone out there. I'm Teza anyway.
I'm Swanky Second.
Love you,
There you go.
Shout out
See
to
ya.
you. See ya.
Thank you. See ya.
Peace.